Oh, video's still loading. Sorry about that all. Welcome back, artists. Glad to see you again for this video guide. Okay, so in this video guide, we are going to tackle the pear. The pear. Okay. Let's regather our supplies if you don't have them with you already. Make sure you've got your erasers, right, your vinyl, and your kneaded. Make sure you've got your pencil sharpener, shade guard, right? I've got my little chunk of paper towel here. You will need your ebony pencil for this one. I'm looking at the value of that stem and a little cast shadow I see happening here. Yeah, we're gonna need an ebony pencil. You'll also need your regular number 2, and of course your blending stump. So let's get started. One more time, make sure you're working from your reference video that we have off to the side, okay, to draw from. Ready for you to work from for our still life this year. Like I said, we're focusing on the pear. Now, if you look at the pear, our pear is still, pretty light value. We're working in the lands of like 3s, 2s, 1s with this one, except for, that stem and that cast shadow go pretty dark. So we've got kind of a world of extremes happening in this pear. So let's get started. Now, I should have taken that away that soon. As I look at the overall texture, this is a pretty smooth object. It's got some lumpy and bumpiness to it. So we'll be trying to capture that as well. So it's kind of like, in between like my bowl and my croissant, right? Smooth surface, but it does have some, some kind of light texture to it, if you will. All right, so just so you know, I'm not like inventing things out of my mind. I've got my still life over to the side here, my image that I'm looking at. And actually, and I've been drawing so long, I need to restart my video. So I'm gonna bring it back to the beginning. Excellent. And so I'm ready to start drawing. Let me go ahead and grab my number 2 pencil. And once again, like we did with the croissant, like we did with the bowl, I'm gonna be looking for where we have our, middle values. And so I'm working at a 3 pressure. And I'm looking for those form shadows. And I can see where this pear rests in the bowl. Curved shading on this object, again, where this pear rests in the bowl here. I can see, using my shade guard, move some of my supplies out of the way. You can see, nice form shadow happening on the tush end of this pear. Again, it is a curved object. So we're gonna make sure we're using our curved shading. Okay, and just looking for where I see. Like I said, this is a 3 pressure. As I look at the total value, how light and dark this object is in comparison to other ones in the bowl, it's capturing quite a bit of light. And it's quite a light color too, so it definitely is lighter than what we see happening elsewhere around. I'm just going to darken this shadow a little bit. Not really a shadow, a reflection of the pear in the bottle. Just because this is a bit lighter over here. And I see some more middle value up here to where I got this really dark cast shadow. Kind of middle value. And some more kind of where the pear sits into the bowl. And kind of comes up this way. Actually, just where I see the edge. See, now I have to start kind of like, as I'm looking at how all these objects relate to each other, I'm just going to go in with my kneaded eraser and lighten that edge up a little bit on the bowl, just so that I don't have any harsh lines. Right? We don't want lines, they flatten outline. It's not that we don't want lines, we don't want outlines. They flatten our beautiful drawing work. It stays pretty light up there, actually. That's going to be more like a 2. Okay, so that's probably like my 3 values. Let's give those a little bit of a blend. Again, I'm also blending with the form. All right, yes, and now as I look here, I'm gonna lighten up on my pressure. I'm at like a 2-1, but I can see that I have some form shadow value happening here. And then it gets really light on the back side of this pear. This is all like a 2 to a 1 pressure. Not a lot of pressure, pretty light. And again, I'm curving my shading stroke, little circles, because this is a curved object. And then I'm just shading around where I see these really bright highlights happening on the surface of the pear, right up here on the hip of that pear, if you will. Okay, and then this 2 value, 2, 1, because again, the body of the pear is still really light. Comes up here to the top edge. Then we've got some bright highlights right at the top edge of this pear where it's capturing, again, quite a bit of light. Okay, I'm gonna grab my blending stump again. Gentle pressure, very light. This is where I can see I'm getting a little bit darker value than I want, so I'm definitely gonna go back and be working my values a bit more with my kneaded eraser. Right, I can already kind of see where I want to lighten things up a bit. Okay, yeah, and so like here, I think that's gotten just a little bit too dark. So I'm just gonna work with my kneaded eraser, do a little subtractive drawing. Come on in here to any areas where I got a little too dark on that value. And no worries, I'll still save some fun for some highlights and really bright spots for that vinyl eraser. But right now I need to just come back in areas where I'm just a little dabbled tapping, just kind of picking up some of that pencil where it's just a little bit too bright, or too dark. There we go. Okay, and now I'll go in with my kneaded eraser and just put in those little highlights that I see. They're really bright white. Now, same thing with the outside edge of this pear. That's really light. You can see it's really light and there's quite this dark background behind it. So I'm going to take my regular number 2. I won't worry about the ebony yet for this, but firm pencil pressure. I'm going to shade in that negative space outside the edge of the pear. I just want to put some tone down so that I can really see that, again, this is a lighter value edge to that object that's capturing a lot of light and the background is darker. So the same thing, just putting down some tone behind it. And we can always go back and adjust with our erasers, with our ebony pencil, and change that value and draw in those shadow shapes in a bit more detail when we do the fabric. But for now, I just want to give it some tone so that pear really feels like it's coming forward. Again, we don't outline, right? Not when we're doing realistic drawing and we're trying to create that illusion of three-dimensional form. If I were to just sit there and be like, oh, that pear edge needs to show up more, I know, I'll just outline it. Oh, it would just flatten all my beautiful shading work, so I don't want to do that. Okay, now I can also see that it's time to really get that ebony pencil out because I have a dark value cast shadow from the stem and some really dark values on the stem as well. So now I'm going to take my ebony pencil. I'm going to go for that really dark value cast shadow. And now as I come on down, I'm going to give that a little bit of a smudge. Love it. Okay, and then around the bottom side of it here. This is really quite dark as well. This whole side. And then the tip of that really captures some light. So now I'm just gonna go back in with my blending stump. Give it a little blend. There we go. And I'm just gonna adjust the values behind it so that those light areas of the stem really show up as light. So I'm just taking my number 2 pencil. I'm just gonna darken the value of that pear shape on the glass behind it. I'm gonna go in with my kneaded eraser here. And just keep the light side of that stem light. There it is. There we go. So that stem still has a lot of dimension to it. That looks good. Okay. Okay, and there is our lovely pear. All right, so join me in our next video. Okay, oh, actually, wait. I see another little area where I want to adjust my shadow a bit. I see there's a little, just a little bit of light peeking through here. I'm gonna go in with my kneaded eraser. Oh, see, I can just, like I said, I can just keep adjusting. I can just keep adjusting and adjusting and adjusting forever. Okay, so now join us in our next video where we'll tackle these grapes. All right, take care. I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.